I know I usually start this by saying I'm so annoyed. Clearly, I haven't been in a great headspace recently. And what about it? And what about it? But anyway, I kicked the light again. I had to be on the phone with the bank today. I'll spare you the details of what's wrong, but some shit's fucking wrong, and I had to call the bank on the phone and talk to multiple departments. And nothing's wrong in like the biblical sense where it's gonna like deeply affect me long term, but something is wrong in the interim and I need to fix it. Like it's a fixable problem, but a problem nonetheless. And I just really don't enjoy that. And then what else happened? It's teaching on May 20th for me. Like, why are we still here? And I did my lashes, and they actually turned out really good, but this one keeps, like, sticking to the bottom lash. Oh my God, is there, like, a lash stuck? My lash girl used to always say, she was like, this one little part of your lash always gives me such a hard time. And I was like, yeah, girl, whatever. And then when I started doing my own lashes, I was like, you mother... just, like, one part, like, hair just grows out a different direction and like wonky and crazy. I don't know if it got like damaged as a child or something. But anyway, next week's stream I'm very excited about. Again, like always when I cover Bravo people, if you have no idea who this person is, it will still be a good time for you. Also, can I just say, I love that me and Mike are like so much more intimate now. Like not, he's gay if you didn't know that. But I just feel like, you know, I can have my arm resting on his knee platonically. And, like, I just feel better with him being right here. We are going to get a different background. I'm actually really excited. I think I'm going to do a wallpaper moment here if I didn't already tell you guys that. This is just a tapestry that I took down from my classroom and put up here. Because in my defense, it kept falling in my classroom. It wouldn't stay on the wall, so put it here. So I just kind of put that for something because someone was like, why do you have Arizona behind you? And I was like, oh, is that Arizona? I wouldn't know. The skeleton is gay. Calm down. So anyway... Next week, we're talking about Phaedra. Very, very excited for that. She's quite the character. Please donate and share. The situation in Palestine is, like, actually really horrible. And, like, even though I need to talk about it, and it's, like, very important to keep talking about it, and, like, us not talking about it is what's making it worse. It's just so difficult to talk about because I truly just feel so helpless because at this point, like, keep donating to the fundraiser, but, like, in all honesty and transparency, like money doesn't necessarily fix what's happening. Like it's like not a lack of money that's the problem. Like there's plenty of aid trying to get in. Israel is not allowing aid to get in. Like that's the situation. That's what's happening. So obviously I'm still going to keep fundraising. I'm still going to keep bringing attention to it. But it's literally just like a horrendous situation, you know? And I just wish that like I had something more productive I could do about it. So if you can think of anything productive, please let me know because I would love to do something productive, which like I know what I'm doing is productive, but you get what I mean. I guess not productive, I mean tangible, like something that's more tangible is what I wish I had the power to do, and I literally just don't, which is very, very unfortunate. But please continue to share it, donate if you've already donated. Thank you. I really appreciate that. He actually reached out to me. I need to call him back. I saw I had a missed call from him earlier. Obviously the time zone situation makes it a little difficult, but I will let you guys know what he says when I talk to him. Last I talked to him, he's basically taking care of 30 people because so many people have died, and so like he's a man and like he's gonna provide for his family, so like his various siblings, children's, and in-laws, and like there's 30 people he's in charge of right now and trying to feed and house them, and they're living in their old house that's half bombed out, so they're like all 30 in like 2 rooms is the situation as of like a couple days ago. So truly horrific. Would be really cool if our government did something about it that was helpful. They're doing a lot of really unhelpful things, but I guess that's kind of a theme historically. Time is a circle and everything's always repeating itself. But the reason that you are all here, not to like awkwardly segue from such a horrible topic that's so a violation of human rights and really depressing, not to just like awkwardly move on from that because I don't know how to transition this, but the reason you all are here and the title of this stream is my lore. So I'm not going to go through everything that ever happened to me, and obviously I'm going to answer questions in the chat, but just know, not next week. Next week is Phaedra. The following week, I'm going to have an Ask Miss Redacted, and you can submit questions. It's already in my link tree, but it'll be like a QR code on the next week's little promo thing. But it's already in my link tree if you want to submit questions. Like any questions. Like it can be about me, because if it's weird, I won't answer it. Like, I'm not going to answer them live or anything. Like, I will answer them live, but I'm not going to, like, read stuff and just say something I don't want to say. So I'm not telling you every single question is going to get answered, but feel free to ask anything you want. Like, you can get personal. Like, I'm happy to talk personal. Like, obviously there's certain things I keep personal, but generally speaking, I'm happy to talk about, like, previous relationships, previous jobs, things that have happened to my family, like my finances. Like, I'm a pretty open book about most things. So if you're like, oh, this is kind of a weird thing to ask someone, you can ask it. And if I don't want to answer it, I just won't. So don't worry about it. So, sorry, I need to take a sip. Tonight we are having a Mike's Hard Lemonade Peach. Normally I drink it out of the glass. I think that's part of the experience. And I thought I had one in the fridge, but I couldn't find it. So I did pour it over some ice. Nice little ice moment. I love ice. I should sell my ice maker, because in our old house, our freezer didn't have an ice maker. So I got like a little countertop one. Shout out to my fiance's sister. She gave me an Amazon gift card for Christmas, and that's what I used it on. So I have one of those, but I don't use it anymore because our new fridge has an ice maker. So I think I'm going to sell it. I'm so excited for the lore. Had such a bad day at work, and then my 3 p.m. Diet Coke exploded all over my face and all over the kitchen. Oh, it's always when you can't handle it. It's always when you cannot handle it. So like I said, tonight we're going to be talking about my lore. This is not everything that ever happened to me, but it's just some stuff that, like... Okay, so some of it is things that y'all have asked me, and I've just never dedicated the time to talking about them. And some of it is just things that are literally burning inside of me that, like, I need to tell someone, and I tell people all the time, but it's still there. Like, I always need to be telling someone these things because they're literally just fucking insane. So this one is not that one. This one's honestly pretty anticlimactic. Like, I think y'all are going to be kind of disappointed. Everyone always says, like, what the fuck do you mean you lived in Panama? Like, genuinely, what are you talking about? So let me give you the lore of why I lived there, how I lived there, whatever. If you don't know, Panama, not Panama City Beach. Before I moved there, when I told people I was moving to Panama, everyone thought I was moving to Panama City Beach. And when I tell people, yeah, when I lived in Panama, everyone thinks it's Panama City Beach. Which really, I don't find weird or offensive, because, like, that is a little more logical. Like, I've lived in Florida, so if I say I'm moving to Panama, like, that's the closest spot. And, like, Panama, the country, is a pretty small country, so that's not going to be, like, the first thing that comes to your mind. But it is a country in Central America. It's very, very thin. You can drive. So where I lived was where you see the star and it says Panama. Panama City, Panama is the capital. I lived in the suburbs of Panama. If you drive from where I lived to Cologne, which you can see is like right across the entire country, that drive is about an hour. So just to give you context, to drive from the top to the bottom, that is long. I do not know how long that drive is. I know at one point when I was there, I drove for 4 hours. Well, I wasn't driving. I was in the car for 4 hours and I was still in the country. And again, I lived in the Panama Star. So like I was in the middle. I've been to Bocas del Toro. Maybe it was then. And then I think I went south one time because I went camping. I don't remember where I was when I was camping. But anyway, beautiful country. So what the fuck was I doing there? This is when I was 18, 19. So for context, I really wanted to go to USC. I really wanted to go to the University of Southern California. That was a school that I like really had my eyes on for a while. My family and my sister went to like pretty prestigious colleges, so it was just always kind of ingrained in me, like you're gonna go to a top 50 school, like that's just kind of what's expected, especially like the big name schools. I just always felt like that is what was expected of me. And I loved California. I loved the weather. I grew up outside of Atlanta. I hated the fucking winter, even though it's a very moderate Atlanta. I fucking hated the winter. And so I was just like, I want to get the fuck out of here. And I loved California. And USC has a world-renowned journalism program. And journalism is what I thought I wanted to do, which shouldn't be surprising. Like, I do this for fun. This is very journalistic in my opinion. Not today's episode, but generally speaking. So when I was like a sophomore or junior, my parents were like, okay, you need to do some kind of summer program, because I hope people don't mind me sharing this, but my sister did a summer program and she got a letter of recommendation from the professor, which obviously a letter of recommendation from a professor at that university is kind of like a cool thing to have when you're applying. So my parents were like, you should do the same thing. And also just applying to schools overall, if you've done a summer program, that looks really good on your application. It shows like a lot of, and this is also a good tip for any parents here that have kids around this age. It shows that you have like lived in a dorm for a couple weeks, so you're a little more independent. You didn't get in trouble in that program, so you're probably trustworthy. Those programs have their own admission, so like you had to apply to that, and then to show if like you got a good grade or a good score or a letter of recommendation or something like that. It can just really boost your college application. And for a lot of schools, including USC when I did it, you got one class of credit for that school. It's non-transferable. It's like totally a money-making scheme. Like it is absolutely a money-making scheme to get high schoolers' parents to pay thousands of dollars to have their child get like an in at this school. And we were fucking, where do we sign? Like, where do we sign? And also for anyone watching that's you're like, I should do that for my kid. It is very good. There's a lot of cheap or free ones or scholarship-based ones, especially at public schools. The private schools, that's the money. And USC is a private school. So I lived there for a couple of weeks. Potential. Thank you for subscribing. I lived there for a couple of weeks. Loved it. It was kind of hard to be away from home, and I did really struggle socially. And when I say Laura, like I'm getting into the details. One thing that was really hard for me is like I grew up in a upper middle class area, and I always thought like my parents had really ingrained in me, like you were born into a place of privilege, you need to be so grateful for what you have. So I always thought of us as like being very well off. So then when I was at USC, and a joke about USC, it's University of Southern California, but people call it University of Spoiled Children. I was with the children of millionaires and billionaires because that's where they send their children. Those kids do 2 or 3 of those programs a year, and they've been doing them since 8th grade. And these programs are like $8,000 a pop. They're not fucking cheap. One of the girls that I was there with, her family, like their name was one of the schools there. Was it art or business? I don't fucking remember. But her, like, I was like, is that? And she was like, oh my God, it's my grandpa. So embarrassing. Like, that's the level of wealth that people were at. So like me going to a public school and like not having a Cartier bracelet, that's where I first peeped the Cartier bracelets. And I was like, that's fucking adorable. I will have one. Etsy, $100 knockoff. And so I wasn't like bullied or outcasted or anything like that, but I felt like a lot of the other girls formed very close relationships with each other there, and I kind of struggled to do that a little bit. I did have a very good friend there who was so sweet, and she was also super wealthy, but you could tell like her had been like socialized around other kids, and she was so sweet. But you know how like kids are. It was very like these little groups, and I felt like I didn't have that, and it was, I think, a good thing. Like, I think me, because I went to the same school system, K through 12, so I always was comfortable around everyone around me. And so I think that was a very good thing for me, was to do that. Also, like, I had to fly on a plane by myself and, like, figure out how to navigate the bus on campus. Like, it was a very good thing. So that being said, I'm posting on Instagram about it every 2 fucking seconds. I'm 17 in Los Angeles without my parents, and they were strict as fuck. Like, we were not allowed to leave campus if we were not accompanied by them. We had like field trips every Saturday where we'd like go to Santa Monica Pier, and they'd leave us and let us run around for like 6 hours. Like, we had fun. They took us to Disney. Like, it was a great time, but I was not like in the club. I don't think I touched alcohol I didn't touch alcohol the entire time I was there. That was another thing. A lot of the kids were breaking rules, and I fucking knew and they were strict. They kicked 3 kids out while we were there. Like, if you got caught doing anything, you were getting kicked out. And I knew my parents would make me pay back every fucking cent of that money. I knew that. And I was like, no, I can't. And like I said, I think it was like $8,000 when you factor in like the room and board and the cost and all of that and the food. So I literally was like, I'm fucking sad. Like, and the other kids were like, we're going to get an Uber and go here. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck Uber is, but bye. Like, no, I've always been a rule follower, but in that instance, like, that was not going to fly. So like I said, I'm posting about it all over Instagram. So everyone around me knows I want to go to USC. They know that that's my number one choice. And then I get fucking rejected. And USC does their admissions very late. So I did not find out I got rejected. I remember it was mid-April. All my other friends are into college. Everyone knows where they're going. Like, I was so distraught. And looking back, I am 0% surprised I got rejected. My grades were not good enough. They were in the range, at the very bottom of the range, which like I knew that, but because I had a letter of recommendation from one of their professors and I had like a huge art portfolio and I submitted like the projects I did in their journalism where like I fucking aced that shit. I was one of the only people in their journalism program. Everyone else like interviewed some random person on the street. Mine was about like recycling. I found a doctor to talk to me. I found an expert in recycling. I was like Saturday 6 a.m. on fucking Zoom with people on the East Coast. I was 16 and I was not fucking around. So I really hyped myself up to believe that I could have gotten in there. They came to an Atlanta for a recruiting event and I went and like did a phone interview with them because like they have a thing where they can supplement your application. So I did multiple phone interviews, like, and again, it's a money-making institution. You see what happened? And so I'm so lucky my parents had no money. It saved me from this heartbreak. So it's actually a beautiful story because I was going to have to go into debt to go there. My parents were going to be able to cover the majority of it, but I was going to have to take out probably $50,000 to $100,000 in debt. So looking back, I think that is one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I had applied to other schools. I'm not that insane. So Florida State, I had just applied because the application was really easy. I knew I was going to get in and I just felt like, yeah, like why not? And it was actually my sister. She was like, hey, one of my friends went here. Like this is a pretty good school. It's a public school. You can definitely get in, like just apply. It's an easy application. Like all they needed was like a transcript and GPA and like one letter of recommendation. Like easy breezy. So I applied there. I had gotten in relatively quickly, but I just like hadn't really thought anything of it. So then when I didn't get into USC, I had two schools I was considering, the University of Tampa and FSU. University of Tampa was a lot more expensive and not as highly ranked, but I loved Tampa. I love Tampa. I've always loved Tampa. I toured University of Tampa. It was one of the first colleges I toured. Like I love Tampa, but I just like thought about it and I was like, it is really dumb for me to pick a college just based on the city I want to live in. Like I can always move to Tampa later if I want to. USC is $70,000 a year. It's crazy. I'm so glad I didn't get in. So I decided to go to FSU because it was much higher ranked, much more affordable, and they have a program for out-of-state students where if you study abroad your freshman year, you get in-state tuition as long as you maintain a 3.0 grade average. So I decided to go to Panama for a variety of reasons. One, I decided to go abroad in general because I waited so late. All the dorms were full and I was like, I don't really want to live in an apartment in Tallahassee. I don't know a single other person going to this school. So just like going there didn't feel right. Not going there didn't feel right. Like delaying starting college, that felt weird and wrong too. And I have always loved to travel. And I had told my parents, like, I really want to study abroad when I'm in college. They've had tons of their friends' kids study abroad. My sister studied abroad. Like they were really on board with that. And so I think my mom actually saw the program. They sent something in the mail and she was like, this could be really interesting for you because like I said, all the weirdness. And I also just like didn't really want to go to Florida State. I was like I went and toured it and I was like, yeah, great school, great campus. I think I will get a quality education here, but I was just not excited to be there. I felt like it didn't really fit my personality. And it's a big school. You can make yourself fit in anywhere you want to with that many people. But you get what I mean. Like, I was like, I'm a city girl. Tallahassee. And again, I grew up outside of Atlanta. So to me, Atlanta is like a big city. So when people were like Tallahassee, I was like, okay. So I just like wasn't that lit to go there. And then I found out I could save all this money. And originally I was thinking about going to, their choices were like London, Spain, Italy, or Panama. And I didn't want to do Italy because I had been to Italy before, twice at that point, I think. Because I went on a school trip and then my family got a trip there through my mom's work a couple years later. So I was like, I don't want to do Italy because I've kind of seen that. And then London, I was like, I should go somewhere where they don't speak English and the weather in London is horrible. In hindsight, I wish I had done Spain, but I decided to do Panama just because, I don't know, I just felt like there wasn't a time change. It was a shorter flight home because obviously at 18, it's very like intimidating to go to a whole other ass country. So I decided to do Panama and I went there and it was incredibly good, but also incredibly hard. Like, as you can imagine, moving to a foreign country when you're 18 years old. Oh, I remember the other reason. So in all of the European campuses, you are only with Americans in class. It's only Americans from Florida State University, Tallahassee. Florida State in Panama has international students from all over the world that go there. And it's more of like a independently functioning university. It's not a study abroad center. It's like a satellite campus. So that's why I was like, I think if I'm gonna go abroad, I should do it. Like, what's the point if I'm just gonna be in class with a ton of American kids? And so it was a really good experience. I learned a ton, but it was very hard. It's hard to live in a place where you don't live the language. It's hard to be away from your family. I had never even moved in my life when I decided to go there. So like, it was really hard. And when I got there, I sobbed for the first 48 hours. I literally landed and I was like, what the fuck have I done? What the fuck have I done? And part of me wishes that I did Spain because I think I would have traveled a lot more, because that's the other thing in Panama. Like, one of the main things to do in Panama City is clubbing and partying. And after the first like 4 months, there was also some incidences, like so many kids their freshman year of college, where I saw some things happen that just made me realize how like inherently dangerous clubbing can be. So I didn't really feel comfortable doing it after a while, and it just kind of like lost the appeal to me. But that's all my friends wanted to do. So it was just kind of like a lot of people navigating at that age, it was just kind of a tough time. And I feel like in Spain, because I actually did Panama for 9 months, and then I went to Spain for 2 months, because you have to do 12 full months abroad. And by the time I had spent 9 months in Panama, I was done. Like, I was like, I want to be in America. I want to go home. Like, this was a lot. And then I was going to Spain. And so when I went to Spain, I was like really not in a great headspace, which I know it's like, oh, poor little fucking you in Spain, which I was thinking that at the time. Like, you have the audacity to be depressed and you're literally going to live in Spain for the summer. Like, get it through your head. But looking back, like, I give myself a lot of empathy, because that was very, like, challenging in, like, a personal growth way, and I think to do that at a young age. And I also, the bigger part of me, like I said, I kind of regret not doing Spain. I think I would have had a better experience. I think I would have traveled more. I really like Spain more than I like Panama, just after living in both places. I like the weather, I like the food, like, I just like it better. But I think living in a place that's so different from the United States, Panama, in a lot of ways is similar, but like I said, it's very different. I think it really built me into the person I am today, and it made me be very confident, because I'm like, if I like was able to do that at such a young age, like, I know I can do like it again. Like, if I needed to move to a place where I don't know anybody and I have to navigate all these things, like, I could do it. Like, I still remember, oh my God, I had to do an immigration interview for my student visa, and I literally don't speak Spanish. My parents were pissed I didn't learn Spanish, but like, sorry, it was really hard in my defense. And a bunch of the kids there wouldn't speak Spanish to me because they were gonna move to the United States, so they wanted to practice speaking English. Did you see the canal? Baby, I lived the canal. I've been on a boat through it. It was right near my old place that I lived. Like, I've been in that motherfucking canal. So like, all the kids that I was with were like, no, I want to practice English. And then my Spanish was horrible. So it just never happened. It just simply never happened. So yeah, that's why I was in Panama. While I was experiencing it, because there were so many moments of like hardship and depression and all of that. Also because I was like drinking a lot of alcohol and eating like shit and not sleeping. And you can imagine 10 girls living in one house, the amount of fucking drama at that age. So while I was experiencing it, 5 out of 10. While like looking back on what it did for me, 8 out of 10 is how I feel. So insane RA and trauma bond for life with my friend. One of my very best friends that I think I'm going to be friends with for my entire life. We are literally like fucking this, and we have like almost the same name, which is hilarious. And we grew up very nearby to each other, but never met till we were in Panama. So me and her are literally so trauma bonded. I'm going to keep this one quick because it's like one of the least interesting ones, and we've been here for 23 minutes and we're literally barely done. So anyway, we had an RA who was just like very much giving enmeshment. And when I say an RA is normally like a college kid. No. Because our house was all American kids. Like in class, I was with other kids, but all the Americans lived in like the housing. So the girls' house was all Americans, the boys was not, now I'm remembering. So the school had very limited amounts of housing. So all the Americans lived there because they're studying abroad from the main campus. So like, they're gonna be more inclined to do that. They're here for a shorter time. But most of the kids that were either Panamanian or from other countries, they were going there for multiple years, so they didn't really live in the housing because it was really overpriced. But Americans, you're just gonna like do what the program offers you, and ours was like an all-in price. So anyway, she was not an RA. She was our program coordinator. So we also did like trips through the school because we were on a study abroad program. The kids that were not American were just like students, but some of them could pay and like come on different excursions with and stuff. It was cool. But so she was in charge of that. So she lived in the house, but was a full-time working adult for the university. And like she helped us with our immigration paperwork. If we needed to go to the doctor, like she would take us, things like that. So an RA, but not a peer as much as it normally would be. But she like literally like we were her friends. And like no tea, no shade. If you're watching this, like if you're watching this, I don't even fucking know, man. I don't know. We're both old now. I don't fucking know what this was. So this is the part that now as an adult, I'm like, obviously we had a group chat for the house where she would be like, hey, we're going to the beach. We're going to leave at this time. Things like that. She had like individual group chats with us. So like me and two girls, was like three of us total that were very close. Me and the three of us had a group chat with her, and we would like go out and do stuff as the four of us. And like, interesting, very interesting. And she was Coco from Zoe 101. Precisely. That literally just brought me so much peace and closure. And yes, we would gossip about the other girls in the house. Absolutely gossip about the other girls in the house. And we had been to her parents' house a bunch of times because her parents had a pool and they were super nice. I loved her parents. If they're watching this, love y'all. Hope you're doing so awesome. So we had been swimming at her parents' pool like a million times. And her parents were like very protective over us. And they were like, and my friend, I wasn't there for this, and her parents spoke English, but not super well, so I didn't have as extensive conversations with them as my very close friend who was fluent in Spanish. They asked my friend if the RA ever like screamed at us or like acted crazy in the house. And we were like, no, because like we were the favorites. So it was always a friendship time with us. And her parents were like very protective over us. They were like, you can always call us. If I like gave us their phone numbers, like that is a red flag. And then a couple things happened that looking back, she did kind of act crazy. But at the time, I just thought they were like normal RA things. Like someone left dishes in the sink. So she like yelled at us and then took like a bunch of forks and hid them. Like just like stuff that's pretty weird, but non-consequential. Shit hit the fan about a month before I was leaving. Like 2 to 3 weeks a month, like very short time before we were leaving, almost at the end. One of the girls in the house that had like been a lot of drama many times, I wish her all the peace in the world. I probably could have been nicer to you, but I wasn't explicitly mean to you. So I'm sorry for what you went through. Because a lot of people were a bitch to her, but also she would kind of like act out. Y'all get it. Like when you're 18, you're the worst version of yourself. Imagine 18, worst version of yourself in a foreign country with all strangers. You don't speak the language, heavy amounts of alcohol. Okay? Culture shock. All that's going on at once. Some shit went down. Some people were hurt. So anyway, where was I? Okay, so there had been some like bickering and issues in the house over space in the fridge. Very common thing for roommates to fight about. And someone had sent in our group chat, I don't even remember who it was, like a very long message being like, I never have space in the fridge. This is like representative of how you guys always outcast me. Like, y'all know, 18-year-old girl type shit. So the RA sends a message back and she was like, I will label the shelves of the fridge and make sure that everyone has adequate space. And again, this is like 3 weeks before we're all moving out. So like, well, not all. Half of us were moving out. New people were coming in. And it was literally, we were saying like, this should be a reality show. And looking back, I'm really glad it wasn't, but it would make for very good television. So she sends this message about how she's going to like label the fridge space. Cool, whatever. Me and my best friend realized after she's labeled it, we have like no fucking space. Because some people have like whole ass shelves, and me and her had like, we shared one small shelf and then had one of the little door hanging things. And we were like, what the fuck? And this is 2 refrigerators. And some people had a whole, like, it was literally just done in a crazy ass way. So my friend sends a group chat. Again, all of this is passive aggressive WhatsApp group chat. My friend sends a message. I don't remember what she said either, but it was very non-aggressive. Like she was like, hey, does anyone want to look at the fridge with us? Like, me and Redacted don't really have a ton of space. Can we try and rework it so we can like divide it a little bit differently? But like happy to be accommodating. Like, it was like, just like, hey, can we talk about this? Oh, I got a fuzzy thing on my face. The RA goes ape shit. Removes me and my friend from the side group chat we were in, sends us these long messages about how I've done so much for you, how dare you disrespect me like this, like literally went in, refused to take us to the airport when we needed to leave, which again was not her job duty, but she had been doing it for us all year, not the other kids, but us. And like, then she made a new group chat with some of the other girls. And so, like I said, originally it was like a 3-friend, me, my friend, and this other girl. And when that happened because when my friend sent the message, I liked it. And it like, I was kind of involved in it too. Our 3rd friend sided with the RA and they like picked up a new person for the last couple weeks. It was crazy as fuck. We were literally voted off of the island. And my friend that happened, this was like, me and her are like this at this point. Like, after going through that whole year together, we also shared a bedroom and like had multiple problems where like we never had a problem with our 3rd roommate, but there were like 1 girl left and then 2 girls got in a fight. So one of them had to move into our 3rd and then a different girl got in a fight. Like, we were always getting a new 3rd roommate, never because of us. Like, occasionally it would just be the 2 of us, but we'd always end up with someone else in there. So when this happened, I was 18, turned 19 that year. This woman was 30. I know she was at least 30. I think she was like 30, 31, 32, somewhere around them. Y'all were her unhealthy Velcro students. So yeah, so like we were so trauma bonded over this because it was so fucking crazy. And that friend of mine got married recently. We don't live near each other at all, so we don't see each other very often. But at the wedding, we were talking about it, and I was like, with adult eyes, like, this is crazy. This was literally so batshit crazy. So yeah, that was a shit show. I wish I still had the messages. And then I think we like sent, because some of the long ass messages she sent us like were insane, so we sent them to like the main campus and we're like, hey, this is really weird. We sent it like a day or 2 before we left, I think, and they literally didn't do anything. Like, she still worked there for years after that. She doesn't anymore. We still follow each other on social media. But I thought you were gonna say like 23. Having studied abroad, it's wild how much drama happens when it's like, girl, we're here for a few months, relax. I will say, but like, we were there for 9 months. That's a pretty long time. We were there from August until May. It's a while. Okay, this one's a short one. I think I've made a TikTok about this before. So my family was almost on wife swap because like, we'll do anything. We really don't care. Like, we're down for whatever. Is she in the live? That's her after her frontal lobe developed? No, literally. Like, that I would forgive a 22-year-old for, but that's why at the beginning I said, like, if you're here, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, I literally don't even know what to tell you. Like, I have no ill will towards you or malice anymore, but that was strange, and I'm not going to act like it wasn't, and I have nothing to apologize for. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're healed. So anyway, my family was almost on wife swap, but we were like pretty far in it. Like, I think they had come to our house and like to like see the vibes, I guess. And then my dad pulled the plug, and this is like so real of him because my mom was like, this is incredible. This is a platform. And like, my mom does like business things, so she thought it would be like good exposure for her business, which like it totally would have been. This was like at the like height of wife swap, when wife swap was like the motherfucking show, and we were loyal watchers of it. And so my dad was like, all right, one of 2 things is going to happen. Because my dad felt like our family was relatively like quote unquote normal. I know all families think that, but he was like, we're upper middle class. We're not super strict with our children, but we do have rules. And so he was like, one of 2 things is going to happen. They're either going to paint us to be like total yuppies that are super uptight, because our house was like my mom is an interior design fiend. So like, our house is like done, you know? So my dad was like, we're either going to get someone that's like super far, like free range parenting. Like, my kids don't go to school, no bedtime. He was like, we're either gonna get someone like that. And my dad said, if that happens, I think it would be fine because I'm gonna be here. So I'll make sure our children like go to school and they're fed and whatever. Like, he was like, that's scenario one. But he was like, even so, why? And then he was like, scenario two that he was very worried about is that we were gonna get some super strict conservative family because my parents have like done a lot of volunteering, not worked in an official capacity, but worked in a volunteer capacity in a lot of campaigns for the Democratic Party, not in like a high level way, but just like they volunteer with their local people and like host events at their house for fundraisers sometimes and stuff like that. So they're not like major players, but they've publicly had that. Like, we had a giant John Kerry banner on our house. It was so embarrassing for me as a child. So he was like, or they're going to give us someone super right-wing and religious. And he was like, and if they're super strict with our kids are going to freak the fuck out on national television. Because especially me, like, I would scream and cry. Like, especially at this age, like, if my shirt's itchy, I will be screaming and crying. One thing about me. So he was like, I don't want to put my children in a situation where they're going to be like embarrassed on national television forever because someone is like enforcing rules on them that they're really uncomfortable with. And he was like, they don't have a tolerance for that because we don't do that. Because not even like we don't do that, because my family did not have many rules at all. But me and my sister were very, very well behaved. And if we ever did something, there were consequences. So we were very like free to do what we wanted because we were so well behaved and because like there were certain very clear boundaries of what you were not going to do. So we really valued our freedom to keep our freedom. We would be good. But that being said, we were not used to someone telling us what to wear, telling us what to do in our free time. And like the one thing he was worried about, because me and my sister were both so particular about what we wear, kind of from a fashion perspective, but also from like a comfort perspective, is he was like, if they make them wear things to school that they don't like, this is literally going to be horrible. And he just felt like it was not worth the risk of how damaging it could be for like the payoff of it, because they barely pay you. But like I said, my mom wanted to be good for her business. And so we were never on it because my dad decided it was a bad idea. And you're right, it would have been so iconic, but my dad was like really real for that and really smart for that. Okay, this one's messy as fuck. If anyone on here, because I know a lot of people that know me in real life do watch these, it was 10 years ago and it's your life, not mine. So I'm really going to try to not say anyone's name. This is where it's going to be hard because now we're getting into stories about other people. Like, so my high school boyfriend dumped me for another girl and then cheated on her with me, and now they're married. So let's get into it. His name was John. That's not his name, but that's what we're going to say. So John, and I left notes for myself, but I literally don't need them. Like, all of this is so fresh in my mind. So real of him and probably good parenting. Yeah, so anyway. So John starts, it's my sophomore year. John is a year older than me. So John is a junior, I'm a sophomore. It's like December of my sophomore year. John starts texting me a lot. We are texting, like, me and John are texting. And he had a girlfriend at the time. Sue me. I was 15. We all make mistakes when we have low self-esteem. This stream is Can't Miss TV for me. So he's texting me a lot, and he's like, my girlfriend is so crazy. She's so depressed. Her parents had to like take her to the beach and take her out of school for 2 weeks because she's so depressed. It's so much pressure on me as a boyfriend. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God, you're such a good boyfriend. Like, yeah, no, that would be so stressful. And I never delete anything. So the sad thing is I probably do have these texts, but we're not. I don't want to scroll through all that. So anyway, so he's like, we're texting a ton back and forth. He dumps that girl like a couple weeks later. We're still texting back and forth. I had situationshipped him for a very long time because I just felt like it wasn't really cool girl of me to have like a boyfriend. So I was just like, yeah, we're just hanging out. Like, why do you need a title? Like, I don't really know why I did that looking back, but it just felt like what I needed to do in the moment for some reason. So I did that to him for maybe like 4 or 5 months. And then, this is my Real House fiancés of the internet. So then by this time it's like summer. And we start officially dating. We're hanging out all the time. Wait, some depressed teens get to go to the beach. I just got yelled at more. So we're hanging out all the time. We were neighbors, so I could walk to his house. He was also a junior baby and he could drive. And sometimes we'd get to borrow his parents' car. We were mobile. So he would always be picking me up from my house. I would walk to his house, like vice versa. Like we were like all day, every day hanging out the whole summer. I was a lifeguard then and he would always take me to work and would bring me like Chick-fil-A at work. Don't cancel me again. I was 15 years old. By that point I was 16. Should have known better. And so yeah, like I'm living life, whatever. And again, important to note, between like December to this all summer, we're texting constantly, just starting in December. So that's during school time. So then school starts, we go back to school, and the vibe just like, the vibe does like a 180, like fucking crazy. Now he like never texts me back, which I know, like me as a 27-year-old saying this, I feel so petty, but I'm trying to convey to you my 17-year-old emotions about it. I'm really not butthurt about it anymore. I just think it's really funny. So he like stops texting me, like being super short with me. And he's like, oh, it's because of school. I'm just really stressed out about school. You don't get it. I'm a senior. I have college applications, blah, blah, blah. I'm just stressed about school. And so I'm like, okay, shit, dude. And no, he did not have a job in the summer. I've been a girl boss since day one. So I'm like, shit, dude, whatever. And I'm like trying to keep a positive vibe. I don't remember exactly when this happened, but his parents started taking his phone away at like 8 or 9 p.m. or something like that. You know how parents do. His family like low-key had money. His dad was a doctor and their house was really nice. They had a really big TV. And I was always eating good over there. Like this is me being transparent. So anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, so his parents start taking his phone at night, as a senior, I know. And so I give him my old iPhone. Cause you know, with a phone that doesn't have a SIM card, you can still like get on Wi-Fi and do iMessage. Not that's what you remember about his parents. They were nice. Hey. I think me and his mom are still friends on Facebook. The way I saw the range was like funny. Where was I? I lost my place in my mind. So what was I saying? Fuck. Okay, so I give him my old iPhone so that he can text me because like, oh, you have a problem? I'm a fucking solver. Give me attention. That's one thing about me. I am going to get my attention. And do you guys remember, this was many, many Apple updates ago, but you know how you can like swipe up on an app and then it has like your recently used apps? Do you guys remember when above that, it had your recently contacted, people that you recently contacted? Do you guys recall this? I know it was real, but I don't know if you know about this. Because it was my old phone. No, this picture's not a primary source. No, I was wondering, I was like, why are people talking about a range? No, this is literally just a picture from the internet. This is literally just a picture from the internet. His parents did have a BMW, so when he would pick me up for my little lifeguard job, it wasn't a BMW. So not far off on the vibe. But I know I never assaulted the BMW. So, and mind you, like we were in a relationship. Like my dad had this rule where he had to give a boy a driver's test before I was allowed to get in the car with them. And I hated it. And he was like, you really want to hang out with a boy that won't take a 10-minute driver's test for you? And like, gagged. But I hated it so much. So he had done that with my dad. I think we went to some school dance together. I don't know if it wouldn't have been, I guess it was homecoming. Anyway, we went to a school dance together. My parents knew him. He would detail cars for money. He didn't have a job, but he would do detail cars. And my parents hired him for that multiple times, like relationship for a high schooler. Again, high school. But, so I start to notice that on my phone, the recently contacted is syncing from the phone that he has. That's my old phone. So I start seeing, me and John were together a couple months. It was high school, I think like 6 months. So I start seeing that around 9:30, 10 o'clock, he'll be like, good night, going to bed. And then an hour, 2 hours later, 1 in the morning, Kara starts popping up. Kara starts just popping up. A little name just boop. Starts happening every single night. And so naturally I confront him about it. I take screenshots. I send it to him. He's like, we're talking about schoolwork. You're so fucking crazy. When I say goodnight to you, it's because I need to do my homework. Like, you're going to impede my education, blah, 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 whatever. So over Thanksgiving break, I actually, circle back, went to USC. I visited USC with my parents. This is when we found out about that summer program that I did the following summer, toured the campus. You know, we toured a couple other schools out there. I think I toured San Diego State, somewhere else. Yeah, we had a nice little college tour trip, as high schoolers do. When I was on the way home from the airport, he dumps me over text message. Exactly. Dumps me over text message. Whatever. I was a wreck. Literally so upset. Like, horrible. Was so distraught. Couple weeks, a month go by. I get over it, fucking obviously. It pops up that they are dating. And I'm like, oh. Because of course you are. Because literally, of course you are. You lose them how you got them. It happens. So one thing, I forgot that this happened, but I am going to talk about it because it's literally so fucking funny. My friend is a ride or fucking die. So that happened at the beginning of my junior year. Then prom rolls around. And I wanted to go to prom, but I didn't want to go with like a date because I wasn't dating anybody and I didn't want to have like pressure or weirdness. I just like literally wanted to go to prom and have a fun time. So my friend who was gay was like, let's go to prom together, because he was dating an older guy. I'm not going to speak on that. Who like was like, I'm not going to go to a high school prom, but you'll date a high schooler. And so my friend who was gay was my prom date. Phenomenal time. This fucking king finds out how John is going to ask Cara to prom. He did some fucking intel. I love the case. He finds out that John is going to ask Cara to prom by dressing up as a Boy Scout and doing like the will you fly up to prom with me. Very common promposal. Again, this is like 2015 Instagram, the moment. So he finds that out, does it 3 days earlier, beats him to the fucking punch by 3 days. And I was like, this is the greatest gift anyone could ever give me. We take fucking pictures. I looked crazy as fuck in the pictures because he had to do it. He couldn't warn me so I could like look good. So I'm literally wearing like sweatpants in the pictures. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. We're posting this everywhere. That is still, I think, the funniest. And to everyone else, that's such a common one. And like he did it like after school when I was leaving class. Like he did it in the traditional way. Like so fucking funny. And then John changed his. He still did it, but it was like, I can't wait to get up at, it was like, it didn't make sense. It was very clear he wanted a different sign with the same pun, and it didn't work. I would be in a lavender marriage with him right now. I should reach out to him. I haven't talked to him in forever. I hope he's doing well. So yeah, that proposal happens. So funny. Everyone's moving on. I don't give a shit anymore. I dated a couple other people casually. I didn't have another like relationship in high school, but I think that's normal. High school's 4 years. Moving on with life, whatever. Fast forward my graduation. I'm graduating. So by this point, John is finishing his freshman year in college about an hour from where we live. Him and Cara are still together. They were the same age. They went to the same college. So they're still together. Like, I'm not thinking anything of it, whatever. I run into him at a graduation party for a mutual friend of ours who I'm very close with. I run into him at a graduation party and I'm like, how have you been? It's been so long. How's college? Like, no hard feelings at all. He tells me, oh, me and Cara actually we just broke up. Like, we broke up. Yeah, it didn't work out. Whatever. Cool. Cool. So I hung out with him probably 2 or 3 times. We didn't like do the nasty or anything like that, but things happened. I'm sure you can imagine. I'm going to leave out the details for everyone's privacy's sake. Things happened. I was single. He said he was single. I knew I was going to college soon. I was trying to have fun the summer before I went to college. I already knew him, felt super comfortable around him. Because I am one of those people, like, I'm not a one-night stand person. I cannot do that or anything like that with a stranger. I don't want to be in a stranger's house. I can't be doing that. So I was just like, We're hanging out. I'll leave it at that. And so then I go off to college. Again, I hung out with him probably 2 or 3 times. It was not like we're getting back together. We were not texting all the time. Like, we literally just hung out a couple times. So I go to Panama. I'm living, whatever. Kaylee, who is a different mutual friend, Kaylee texted me. And she's like, hey, Cara and John have broken up and they keep taking a break because John is cheating on Cara all the time. He has cheated on her with so many random girls at bars. He will go out and have one-night stands and make out with random girls. I also heard some even more unflattering rumors about him, but I don't know if that's verified, so I don't want to speak on it, especially because a lot of people I think that know us will probably see this. So Kaylee hits me up and is like, this is what's going on. Cara decided to forgive him because he said he was going to stop drinking and delete all of his social media. But I know that you and John were hanging out over the summer. Can you please tell her? Because she's like, Kaylee is like, Cara's going to forgive him because it's always been with strangers and he was always drunk. So that's why in her mind, she wants to forgive it and move past it. But Kaylee was like, if she finds out that it was you, his ex-girlfriend, multiple times, sober, that will be a different situation. And I'm a girl's girl. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll tell her. I don't care. So I sent her like screenshots of him being like, I'm on the way over. Like, not anything crazy, but definite proof we were hanging out on more than one occasion during this time, dated and everything. This girl, she starts calling me all the time. You're the only one who understands what I'm going through. Oh my God, this is so horrible. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, dump him. And she's like, he's saying he's going to change this, that, and the third, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, girl, dump him. Like, he's a liar. He's a liar. The real reason you went to Panama was so this guy couldn't hit you up. He wasn't hitting me up. Like, we hung out 2 or 3 times and then we just stopped talking. And it was literally not that serious, but because Kaylee was at the time, me and her didn't have a falling out. We just don't really, it's been 10 years, we don't really talk anymore. Me and her were very, very close. We hung out a lot. So she was like, and Kaylee and Cara are best friends since they were small children. So a friend came to me in desperation trying to help her friend. So I helped. And so she starts hitting me up all the time. You don't understand, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's like, I don't want to tell my friends because they judge me. You're the only one that's not judging me because you get it. And I'm like, yeah, girl, like, I was clowned. You were clowned. Like, what more evidence do we need? Like, we really don't need to do this. Like, it's really not necessary. And then I don't remember if I told her to stop hitting me up or it just kind of fell off, because for a while it was a lot. And I was again, had just moved to Panama, trying to fucking learn how to speak Spanish. And so I find out eventually that she forgave him, they got back together, and I'm like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. I literally did not think about it for years. Did not give it a second thought. And then a couple years later, maybe 3 or 4 years later, actually, I do know when I was graduating college, because when I was graduating college, I updated my LinkedIn a ton, so it had to be then. I get notifications that he's looking at my LinkedIn. He's looking at my LinkedIn. 3 years later, I was in college for 2.5 years because I did dual enrollment. 3 years later, he's looking at my LinkedIn. What are you doing here? The spray painted car doesn't come into play. It's just a picture. I'm sorry I deceived you. He fucking looks at my LinkedIn twice. So I think about telling her, and I'm like, no. And I told my friend, because again, we all went to high school together. I have lots of mutual friends with these people. I told my friend, I was like, this motherfucker's looking at my LinkedIn. What do I do? And she was like, girl, you should tell her because he said that he deleted all social media. He hasn't been on social media in years, blah, blah, blah. And I decided not to tell her because I was like, if him cheating on you with me, because they were taking a break so that he could reflect about his cheating. That's what the break was for. That was the break. So I would assume you're not supposed to have relations with anyone on that break. And again, I did not. Never did. Never. And if anyone tries to say different, they're lying and there's a fuzzy flying around. Would you be willing to show a pic of you in high school? Yeah, I'll try and show it at the end. I have before. It's pretty anticlimactic. Here, actually, I can try and find one from right around this time. So anyway, he looks at my LinkedIn when I'm in college and I'm like, what the fuck ever, I'm not dealing with that. Don't do anything about it. And then, when was this? Maybe like 2 years ago, something like that. A while ago, but relatively recently. I'm scrolling on Facebook and I see that one of my friends is tagged in their wedding photos. They got married. Aren't you happy for them? Okay, I'm gonna find a pic of me from high school that's like not heavily filtered so you can see what I actually looked like. Okay, I would say this was me like at my peak, genuinely, and I do kind of mean that. This is when I was a lifeguard, so I was super tan. I had just gotten my braces off, and I had a job, so I was able to buy makeup at Sephora. And me, the Bobbi Brown eyeliner, and the Anastasia brow, we were like this. And I'm gonna say, I think the brows look good. I don't think I was overdoing it. That's me in high school. This is literally, I think, one of the best photos of me that's ever been taken. I feel like I don't look that different other than the fact that I'm disgustingly pale right now, but that's me in high school. Let me try and find like a full body pic. I mean, I was so tan this summer. Okay, this is like more my vibe. This is like not tan, this is winter, and this is like me dressing normal. I feel like I look, that's me at Hobby Lobby holding baby Jesus, in case you were wondering if I've been like this the whole time. The answer is yes. So yeah, like very similar look to what I have now. The glasses, the long hair, I just did my part differently. So this is like a full body pic so you can see kind of like my vibe. I feel like I don't look that different. So many people tell me I look like Nicole from Big Brother. I get that a lot. You are not the first person to say that. So yeah, there's me pale and there's me tan, just so you can get the vibes of what I looked like. So yeah, now they're married. Isn't that crazy? I truly mean this when I say I wish them all the happiness in the world. I can try and find the promposal pic. It's probably in here somewhere. So that probably would have been like March 2015. I can try and search for it. Because prom is usually in April. March 2015. Man, there's a pic of me with this other guy that I dated during that time that was like honestly worse. Like he didn't do anything because I didn't give him much of a chance. But he was just really annoying. Just remembered that. Upsetting to think about. I can't find it. I'm sorry. Let me try April. Oh, God. The Photos app is like genuinely horrendous now. Some of these clothes are cute. There's plenty of pictures from actual prom. I can show you that. Was he clingy? No, he was literally just a head ass. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. I would be hanging out with him, and I was like, you are just kind of generally irritating. Can I search balloons? Is that, like, an option? Now I'm, like, determined to find this. Oh, I'm back in my concert era, because I had money. Balloons. How do you spell balloon? You can search balloon. That's kind of terrifying. It didn't come up though, so clearly it doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know. I'll try and find it later and show you, but you can't say I didn't try. How did you start dating him? Like, he asked me out and we went out a couple times and hung out a couple times, and then I just kind of fell off. Like, it was never like that. It was just like, yeah. There was one time with that guy though. I was late to work because I was hanging out with him, and I texted my manager and I was like, hey, I'm studying, so I'm like running late. I'm gonna be there like 30 minutes late. And I came there and I changed into my work uniform in my car. And he goes, how was studying? Did you learn a lot with that boy? And I was like, I wasn't. And he was like, I know you were with a boy. And I was like, how could you know that? And he was like, why else would you be lying that you were studying? I was like, okay. And he was like, don't do that again. He was like, next time if you're hanging out with a boy, get your shift covered. And I was like, okay. Okay, this one is fucking crazy. This has literally nothing to do with me, but is my favorite story to tell. This is gonna be so fucking hard to keep everyone's names straight. I'm actually not over him dumping you on your phone. No, he cheated on me with my phone. He dumped me on his phone. He did dump me on his phone. So this is my favorite story. My bosses cheated on their spouses with each other. And I didn't know until like later. So there's a couple players in this story. All right. Did you ever get the phone back? Yes, I got the phone back. I don't remember how. I think I was just like bringing my shit back, and I had like some clothes and other stuff at his house, and he brought it back. So I worked at a restaurant in a hotel. I've talked about this at length. This is where this happened. I'm not going to name the hotel or the people, but if you worked there during this time, you probably already know about this. I think the whole town knows about it. So I worked at a restaurant inside the hotel. The manager of the restaurant I worked at, her name is Emma. Emma was actually manager of a nicer restaurant on the property. But we had really high turnover for management. We had like multiple managers in a short time span, and then one stepped down because he was like doing a really bad job and like things were getting awry, and they were, I think, like this close to demoting him. So instead they made him like lead bartender and like made it a little less awkward. So Emma basically does the hotel a favor and is like, I'll go manage the lunch restaurant. We'll call mine the lunch restaurant because we were the only restaurant that was open for lunch on the property. She was like, I'll go be a manager of the lunch restaurant because the restaurant was a shit show. Like our ordering was a shit show. Our schedule was a shit show. Our labor cost was a shit show. The amount of mistakes we were having was a shit show. It was bad. So Emma was like, I will go manage that restaurant, get it in order, get some systems going, hire more people. And then I was kind of like I'll do this favor for you. And then I think she was going to get promoted afterwards because this was a time that a lot of promotions were happening. So she's our manager, but not for a long amount of time. She's maybe been our manager for like 2 months. The director of food and beverage, his name is Miles. Miles had been in that position for the entire time I worked there. I worked there seasonally, so in summers and holidays, for 4 years. Miles had that position the whole time that I worked there. This was towards the end of my career there. So Miles is the director of food and beverage. So he oversees all the restaurants, catering, special events, food, everything. So he's like, that's a pretty important title. Important note here. Once a year, the hotel threw a party for the employees where they would hire like seasonal staff to come in and serve, and we would get like a couple free drinks, a really good meal. They would hire a DJ. It was a very, very nice that they did that for us. This to this day is like one of the workplaces where they really showed that they valued their employees because it's economically advantageous, and they would work us like horses in the Civil War. But they did feed us. They would give us like rewards. They were really good about recognizing if you were like a good employee. Like incredible company culture, in my opinion, even though it was a very hard job. So anyway, Miles has been the director of food and beverage for a really long time. Miles' wife comes up to me at this party. I have served her a couple times, and I always felt like when I saw her, she was upset about something. Like she was always just seemed like very frazzled and upset, but I'd only served her twice, and both times she had both her children with her. So like, yes, this is the same job the Republican meeting happened at. So both the times I served her, she just seemed very frazzled and upset, but I didn't really think anything of it because she was always with her small kids alone, and that can be frazzling. So I just haven't really thought anything of it. So I'm sitting outside drinking champagne. She comes up next to me. She sits down. She goes, hey, do you mind if I smoke a cigarette? Do you want one? And I was like, I don't mind at all. I'm good, but feel free to smoke a cigarette. And she was like, what's your name? What department do you work in? You look really familiar. I think I've seen you here. And I was like, yeah, I work in the lunch restaurant. You've come in a couple times. And she was like, oh yeah, you work at the front, right? Like she clearly jogged her memory. It looked like she'd been drinking a little bit. And she goes, is Miles ever like flirtatious with you or any of the other girls? And I was like, no, he really isn't, because he actually was a very stand-up guy to work with. I had seen him really do a good job managing sexual harassment in the workplace, because the hotel industry and the food industry has a lot of sexual harassment in it. And I had seen him handle those situations with grace and professionalism and respect. So I was really taken aback that she asked me that, because again, this is a very high-level employee making a lot of money for a very well-known, very prestigious corporation, and I'm a very low-level employee. So for his wife to be like, has he ever hit on you? I was like, and she was like, what about like the other women there? Does he ever? And I was like, no. And she was like, okay, good. I didn't think so, but you just never know. She was like, I'm always home with the kids. I just feel like I have no idea what's ever going on. And I was like, really? I'm sorry. That must be really hard. And she goes, when me and him met, that motherfucker wasn't even allowed inside. We worked at hotel in LA. I was a waitress. He was a fucking bag boy until I convinced the manager to make him a bus boy. And then he worked his way up from there. And then apparently they had moved away from California to this small ass town with this resort in it for this job. And she stopped working because that's also around the time that they had their small children. And she was like, he was nothing before he met me. Like, she's going in. And then he comes, I'm eating it up. I'm like, and I had brought my friend as a date, because you can bring a +1. So I had my friend with me, and we're literally like so locked in. And so Miles appears, literally out of thin air. He appears, goes to his wife, and he's like, let's go dance. Why are you outside? It's a party. And he's like, so sorry if she was bothering you girls. And he was like, come on, they don't want to talk to their boss's wife. They're here to have fun. And I was like, see you. Like, I do want to talk to you, but it's my boss. So I was like, ha ha ha, yeah, have a good night. Like, and I'm like, that's fucking weird. Fast forward like 6 months. Oh, sidebar. Oh wait, that didn't happen. So, okay, fast forward. No, I do need to tell you this. So anyway, I'm so fucking sorry. I was about to move to Miami to take my first teaching job. And I had asked a lot of people at the hotel, does anybody know anyone at this hotel in Miami? There's multiple hotels of this brand in Miami. And I was like, I would love to do like seasonal work or like special events or catering for extra money. Like, someone please connect me with someone in Miami. And so they're like, yeah, you can definitely do that, whatever. And Miles tells me, give my name anywhere. I'm happy to vouch for you. I've been working with you for 4 years. I've seen you grow so much. I'm happy to vouch for you anywhere. And he was like, I'm well known in the company. Like, I tell anyone to call me and I'm happy to vouch for you. So I'm like, yeah, get this good ass gig. So fast forward a couple months, I'm about to move, not working there anymore. And my friend tells me that this happened. So apparently Miles cheated on his wife with Emma. And looking back, they were always like laughing and joking and always going into the office together. And because again, I only worked with her for like a month, but I just thought like, oh, they've worked together for years. She did him this favor by taking over this restaurant. So that's why I thought he was at the restaurant all the time, because it is a very hard restaurant to run. It's an outdoor lunch restaurant that serves up to 1,000 people per day. It's not a fun fucking job to manage it. So previously, we would only see him like once, twice a week. He was down there every day when Emma started managing, which in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, she's newer in this position. She's doing him a favor. So he probably just like wants to make sure it's going smooth. I don't know if they were cheating on the job. I would hazard to guess. I'm not going to say like, oh, they fucked in the kitchen, because they really, outside of this, they were both so professional and good to work with. This is why it was so crazy when this happened. Keep in mind, Emma was at this restaurant every day from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. And so was he at the hotel. He would be in other places too. So I'm not going to say that they cheated at the job, because I've never had anyone say that to me. But they were there 6 days a week for 12 hours a day. So, I don't know. And I will say, I don't think they would have had access to rooms. This hotel is really good about stuff like that. Like, there's no one that has access to rooms that shouldn't. I'm not going to say it's impossible if they got a key from someone and did a favor, but neither of them would have a master key, because it's not necessary for their job title. That's a lot of time together. And again, I didn't see that time together as a red flag, even though I worked with them closely, because part of my job was I had to go in the office after every shift and like enter the mistakes of like any orders that got messed up so we could track it. So if we could see, oh, the burgers are getting messed up a lot, what do we do about that? Like that was part of my role there. And so the office had 2 computers. So like they would be on one, like ordering stuff and making the schedule, and I would be on the other one. And they had like little inside jokes and like a banter. But again, they've worked together for years. I did not really think anything of this. But looking back, and in my mind, I'm like, they're both married. It's not even crossing my mind. He has 2 children. She did not have children, but she was married. And apparently, all of this, again, I did not witness. This is just what's been communicated to me. Apparently, her husband discovered this affair. Her husband marched in the hotel, banged on the door of the general manager, whose name is Richard. That's not his actual name, but that's what we'll call him. And he goes, "My wife, Emma, fucked Miles and Micah. You need to fucking fire them. They're both her superiors." And did it, like, this is a resort in a small town, just yelled that out in front of guests, in front of other employees. I have no idea how Micah plays into this. I'm still very unclear on that. I have no idea if that's even true. I don't know. So Richard calls Miles, Emma, and Micah into his office. And again, read their job titles. These are people that are difficult to replace. These are high up people. Fires all 3 of them. He says, I'm not okay with this. This violates company policy. You are not going to do this on my watch. Like, I require a respectful workplace. You fucked your employee. You're fucking both superiors. Like, no. Fires all 3 of them. King shit on Richard. Emma's husband files for divorce, moves, gets a great job in another city. He moved to the beach somewhere. He came out relatively unscathed from this. So, it comes out later, Emma's pregnant. Emma's pregnant. Congratulations. Congratulations. And then I also find out that Miles went above Richard's head, called someone at corporate, and said, "You need to get me a new job. I'm not okay with being fired. I want a new job, and I don't want it to be at this property." So Miles gets a promotion to be the general manager of a new property in, guess where? Miami. Isn't that exciting? I know. Whose was it? Oh, it was Miles. It was Miles. Also, sidebar, one time before I knew about the affair, me and Emma were in the office and she was saying that her husband, not Miles, her husband before this, was really upset that she was working so much ever since she took the new job. And he was like, "Oh, I just want to spend time with you, come home." And she was like, "I feel so bad. I'm here all the time." Girl, you were cheating on him when you said that to me. Why'd you even say that? You didn't have to say that. So I hit up Miles because I still need a fucking job. Low-key, I'd be like, hell yeah, Miami job secured. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Miami job secured. Because he said, if you ever need anything, I will vouch for you. He said that to me multiple times. Miles leaves his wife. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if she left him or he left her actually, but they were not together anymore. Again, he had 2 children with her. At this time, those kids were like 6 and 8 or something like that. Oh, I'm not the winner. Just wait. So a couple weeks after this, because again, at this time I wasn't working there, I saw Miles' ex-wife, separated at that time, working at a coffee shop, and I just felt really bad for her because I knew that they lived in a very expensive neighborhood, again, small town. And like she had not worked in years, and like it's a small town, there's not that much economic opportunity. And then like she obviously didn't want to work where that happened, and that hotel is like the main thing in that town. So yeah, I felt really bad for her. I hope that she like moved somewhere and like built a better life. So he can go to Miami and fuck more people he works with. So I find all this out. My mind is fucking blown because that's insane. I find out he's in Miami now. He's opening this new hotel. About 2 months later, I think, is when I moved to Miami, and like what by that point was like in teaching, in a swing of things that I was like, yeah, I could use some extra money on breaks, on weekends, whatever. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, it's me. I text him and I'm like, hey, it's me. I like want to talk to you about working in special events. Like I'm in Miami now, whatever. I text him some kind of thing. He doesn't reply. So I'm like, weird, whatever. I think maybe he has a different number, something like that, because I didn't know if the number I had from him was like a work phone or a personal phone. So I'm like, weird. So I email him at his work email because I think, oh, maybe it's not his number anymore. So I email him at his work email. No reply there. And I'm a hustler. One thing about me is I'm a hustler. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to text him one more time. So I text him and I'm like, if you guys aren't hiring at your property, no worries. But if anything comes up in the future, keep me in mind. Because I'm thinking he's opening a new property. He's in a new city with his mistress and baby. Like, maybe he just forgot to text me back. Let me just tell him to keep me in mind. So this motherfucker blocked me. I still don't know if he truly blocked me or if I was texting a phone that was not his anymore because he switched positions. I don't really know, but I never got to work there. And my theory is the people in Miami he was working with probably did not know about any of that, probably did not know he had a wife and other kids in another city that he had literally just picked up and left and moved. Like, I think he just didn't want to bring that into his new workplace. And like, he knew that I am a fucking blabbermouth. Like, I am a gossip because he would literally go to me for gossip. Like, he would be like, oh, what's this employee doing? Like, he knew I had all the gossip and he would be like, is this a problem? And I would either be like, yeah, it's a problem. Or I'd be like, no, I think they'll work it out. Like when employees would fight or date each other and stuff. Like, he wanted a fresh start. So I never got that job. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that just the craziest crazy time? I was collateral. And like I said, and apparently now they don't live in Miami and they actually moved again somewhere else. I don't really know what they're up to now. And none of these people are really on social media like that. So I don't know. Did you ever use him as a reference? No, God, no. I have used Richard as a reference before, and I used a different manager from this place as a reference. But no, I never used him as a reference. Also, me and him, like, he really liked me and respected me, and anytime there was like a big deal, like a VIP or an event, he would always be like, Redacted, you gotta own this, you gotta be in charge of it. But me and him did not work together on a day-to-day basis, so there were other people that were just better references because they knew me better. Imagine he's so into the goss that he's watching for entertainment right now. But yeah, I just thought this story was crazy. I tell this story at every opportunity that I get because it's truly just fucking insane. But out of everybody, I think that Emma's husband got out the best. Emma's husband got out the best. No, he was not the one that found me spying on the Republicans. That was somebody else. Emma's husband, within a couple weeks of this, filed for divorce, moved and got a job at a hotel that was on the beach where he does like golf shit there. Like, better job, better living situation. Like, he had no kids with her, so I'm sure he will probably just never talk to her again. And yeah, it's a lot. So roommate lore with Laura, I think what else do we have? I'm thinking about skipping this because out of everything, it's kind of like the hardest to explain and the least exciting. Okay, no, we only have 2 more. I'll do it. Not to like hype it up like that. So, okay. So when I lived in Miami, the entire time I lived there, I lived in the same apartment the whole time that, I lived there. This is a changed name. Her real name was not Laura. So I lived in the same apartment the whole time I was there. When I moved in, it was originally 3 of us. We were all teachers. We had met at like a teacher training orientation thing and decided like, oh, let's get an apartment because none of us could afford to live alone. And like the vibes were good. So we lived there, the 3 of us, I believe for 2 years. The first year was pretty good, but COVID also happened. So I will say I got into a relationship at the beginning of COVID, and that relationship did cause some rift between me and my roommates because when you date a narcissist and he's staying at your house almost every single day, that's going to cause a rift. So again, deeply apologize for the person I was at 22. That was a mistake, but live, laugh, and learn. But generally speaking, things were still good, generally respectful, like the vibes were decent, whatever. The only issue we had is one of our roommates, so it was me, I'll call her my friend, and then roommate other, who originally we were all friends, but roommate other had a couple pets that roommate other did not do a great job of taking care of, like not emptying the litter box as much as they should, never taking their dog for a walk, so their dog would like rip open the trash and destroy furniture. But other than that, like everything was generally cordial. We didn't have drama between each other. I know I'm making it sound like it was horrible, but we all generally got along. We would go out socially. We had a lot of the same friends. Like things were fine. And a lot of this happened when I was first streaming. So that happened. So like I said, we lived there for 2 years, all the three of us. The second year that I was there, I was staying at my ex's a lot. So when we were first dating, he was living at a place that was like not great. So I wasn't staying over there because it was like the vibes were not there. So he would stay at my house all the fucking time. And then he got a better apartment and a new job. So then I was staying at his house all the fucking time. So my friend and other roommate got very, very close because it was during COVID. I was always at my ex's. Like I would come there and like do my laundry and shit like that and work out sometimes and vibe, but I was not staying there most nights. I wonder how many nights I paid for that apartment and didn't stay there. It kind of haunts me. But anyway, the other two of them got extremely close because again, I was in a relationship with a narcissist, so I'm like being isolated from my friends and stuff. Like it was really not the vibes. So they got very, very close. Like they're literally quarantined together. So they're very close and they had some kind of falling out. I don't remember what happened, but it was something so stupid where other roommate, like they got in a little bit of an altercation and other roommate like completely cut off contact. And then I broke up with that guy, moved back in. Again, I had never moved out, but started staying there every night. And then at that point, other roommate kind of stops coming around as much. She gets a boyfriend, starts staying with him a lot. So me and other roommate actually didn't live together for very long at all, despite the fact we were on a lease together for 2 years. We really didn't live together very long at all. Like we just like ships in the night. So me and her never really had any beef. We went on a couple group trips together that were good. Like me and her always had a generally positive relationship. But I can't believe a stream started in this era. It feels like yesterday. Stream didn't start yet. I'll tell you when stream started. So after a while, other roommate, one day her boyfriend comes and picks up all her pets and then we don't see her for like a month and a half. And then she texts us one day and says, hey, I want to try and get a sublet. Do you guys have any problems with that? Like, cause we still had like 6 or 7 months left in our lease. And she was like, I want to get a sublet. Is that okay with you guys? And we kind of felt like we had to say yes because like, you're never here. You had this falling out. The rent was still expensive. Like it's Miami. I was paying $1,100 a month because I had my own bathroom and they were each paying like $800 or $900 because they shared a bathroom and their rooms were a little bit smaller. So like, I was like, I fucking get it. So we're like, we tell her like, yeah, you can have a sublet, but we want to meet them beforehand and it has to be someone that like we're okay with. Like we're trying to be like cordial and amicable. So she finds this girl, Laura. So Laura comes and tours the apartment, relatively nice and normal. This is around the time stream started. Because again, this is when we had 6 months left in our lease and our lease went until like June or July or something. So I think this was in like January. This was right around the time I left my first teaching job and was going into my corporate job. Like this is when I was like interviewing and applying for stuff like that. So Laura comes to the apartment. She seems relatively nice and normal. We ask her what she does for work. She's like, I'm a waitress. And she's like, I'm from Chicago. I want to just spend like 6 months in Miami because I'm thinking about moving here. And I got a job at this place, this like clubby day club spot. So we're like, okay, cool, whatever. She's about the same age as us. We think like, this is probably as normal as this is gonna get. And she was the first one and she just seemed relatively nice and normal. So we're like, cool, she moves in. So this bitch was crazy. I can't remember if we knew this before she moved in or not. She was a sugar baby with like no judgment. I have no judgment towards sugar babies. And so I think we might have learned that before she moved in. And I was like, I don't care. And we said like, as long as she doesn't bring anyone to the house, we literally don't care. Like as long as you pay your rent on time and you don't cause problems, like we don't care. And we know that she's a sugar baby. She's living with us. It's going pretty okay for the first little bit of it. She would like go out a lot and her room would always be a mess, but like, it's fine. Roommate's gonna roommate. It is what it is. And then she started doing this thing. I can't remember exactly how it started, but she started progressively getting a lot messier, but And we said one or two things, like in the passive aggressive roommate group chat way. Like, she had this juicer. She was really into juicing. And one time she left like a bunch of like juicy pulp fiber like on the counter. And one of us said like, hey, whoever left the juicer out, can you just make sure that you clean it up? Like, the juicer was a big point of contention. Someone made some kind of small comment about something, like very small, not a big deal. Just like, hey, if this is yours, can you put it away? We don't want to get a bug, whatever. And then what she started doing was getting progressively messier, but then going after us for if we left anything. And like, if she left something, she would like text us before we could bring up her thing. So I'll give you an example. Again, with the juicer, she put it in the dishwasher. So there was literally like juice fiber all in the dishwasher. Fucking disgusting. We had to stop using our dishwasher. And so we had like asked her to clean, we were going to ask her to clean the dishwasher. Like, we brought it up before, but whatever. She finds a piece of lint. And when I say a piece of lint, I mean like, you know, when you clean the dryer vent, that. It was probably this big. And our washer dryer was in unit, but it wasn't a laundry room. You like opened a little sliding door and it was stacked. And it was on the floor in like the thing that the door goes on. It was me. I know it was me. I know that shit was me. Because I was the last person to do laundry. And I had cleaned out the thing. So literally just a chunk of it had fallen off. So and this is after her leaving so many messes and being really weird if we ever brought something up. She texts me and is like, hey, did you leave this on the floor? And I said, oh, I don't think so. And then I guess she texted my roommate and asked her the same thing. So she makes a group chat with both of us and says, I've privately tried to handle this matter with both of you. I texted both of you and clearly someone is lying and denying the fact that they left it. It is my right to live in a clean space. And sidebar, I'm not sharing a bathroom with her, but my roommate, who I was friends with, am still friends with, she was. And she said that this girl would forget to flush the toilet, would leave like bloody tampons all over the trash, would not wash her hands after she had used the bathroom, would leave her hair extensions hanging in the shower, would do spray tan and just like not clean it up, like diabolical things in the bathroom. And this bitch has the audacity to text us about a lint ball this big in this group chat, long ass message. And I don't remember the exact timelines of this. I'm just kind of giving you examples of how she was insane, and then I'll get to like the final thing of insanity. A piece of lint in front of the dryer, likely place for it to be. And again, this is after all of the shit that she's left. Sometimes she would get drunk and leave a ton of takeout food in the kitchen, which we had done that too, so we didn't care. But if you're drunk leaving takeout food in the kitchen all night, you cannot be coming after people for the fucking lint ball. And then she spoke Spanish. I think she said she was like half Mexican, and she would be talking shit about us on the phone with her family in Spanish, but she didn't know that my friend spoke Spanish and was fully understanding all of it. Let me, I like how the auto mod took out dumb. So she texts us about this fucking lint thing, and me and my friend are just dying laughing because this is so diabolical and insane. And then one other thing that happened, she paid rent on time for the first maybe like 3 or 4 months. And then one day, this is before the nastiness started, because the first 3 months that she lived there, she was there for 6. The first 3 months, she was fine. Like, she had a normal roommate. I didn't know about the bathroom stuff. In my opinion, she was fine. And from my perspective, like, again, sometimes would make noise, would talk on the phone loud, had left things in the washer a couple times, but like generally a fine roommate, like didn't cause me any problems. So one day I'm laying on the couch. She comes and lays next to me on like this beanbag thing we had. And she was like, I have a problem. And I was like, what? And she goes, I got this text from my sugar daddy. And she would also travel a lot. Like she went to LA for the Super Bowl. That's when that happened. She would like always be going places. And then she quit her job because it was like impeding on her ability to travel. But I was like, if you pay the rent on time, like I don't care, quit your job. I don't give a fuck what you do. And like one of her jobs fired her because she kept not showing up. And like she was like a bottle girl at this one place, but just so she could get discounts on bottles. So she only worked there once every 2 months. Very strange. So anyway, she comes and sits down. She goes, I got this weird text from my sugar daddy. Like, help me figure out what to do. And she shows me this text, and it says, do not call me. Do not text me. My wife found out everything. I'll contact you later. Like, do not call this number, whatever. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then I look, and she had already responded and said, are you still going to be able to pay my rent this month? And then he responded again. This is the text she was showing me. My whole life is imploding. My fucking marriage is falling apart. And you think I'm worried about your rent? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, going in. And I was like, oh my God. And this is, I remember, on the 31st. This is on the 31st. And I'm low-key this bitch's landlord. Because our apartment was like, we can't put her on the lease, but we can add her as an occupant and she can pay rent to you, and then you still pay the rent, because we had to pay our rent with a paper check. It was fucking annoying. So I'm literally the bitch's landlord. Like, I have to pay that $3,000 rent regardless of what you are bringing to the table. And she was supposed to be paying $850 a month, I think. And so I was like literally looking at her like, so what's the plan? What are you going to do? Plot twist, the sugar daddy is the manager from the hotel. So I'm looking at her like, so, and she was like, I have some money and I think I can probably ask my mom for money. I think it'll be okay, but what should I do? Should I keep trying to talk to him? And I was like, I don't think he wants to talk. I think he's okay. I don't think talking is really a good thing to do right now. She did pay me the rent on like the 3rd, and we had a grace period to the 5th. So like I had paid it, but she did pay me the rent on like the 3rd and did pay rent roughly on time, 1-2 days late, but she was never short on the rent. So she didn't cause financial problems, at least that I recall. But anyway, so me and my roommate, should I talk to him, girl? So, I remember what happened. She called her mom. Her mom gave her the money, but her mom cursed her out. Her mom was like, you said you were going to be able to make it in Miami, you fucking stupid idiot. I told you this was going to happen. You never should have left my house. You don't have, like, a job. Like, you cannot just get money out of thin air. What's wrong with you? Like, her mom went in on her, kind of rightfully so. So, anyway, her time is coming to an end. And she hits up me, and she was like kind of there sporadically, and then she like had some people stay, and we told her like, you cannot have other people stay overnight because, oh, I remember, I forgot about this. She would party a lot. $850 is not that much money for Miami. Exactly. But it was, again, 1 bedroom in our apartment. She would have people over, like her friends would come from out of town and they would stay with us for like a week just to party. So I would be like coming home from work and there would be like someone on my couch coming off of acid. So we told her like, you cannot have anyone here overnight. Like, and so there was just like so much fighting and so much contention. And then if y'all remember, there were a couple times I was streaming like in our living room because before we got the sublet, I had asked my old roommates, hey, is it okay if I do a stream in our living room? Like my room's just kind of small for it and it's hard to get like an Ethernet cord in there. Like, do you care? And they both were like, yeah, it's fine. I'm cool with it. It's just 1 night a week. We can be quiet, like whatever. Maybe not a week, but multiple nights. So I was streaming in the living room and one day she came in super drunk and super loud and then when I like talked to her about it, I think I might have texted her and told her to be quiet. She was like, it's my apartment. I can do what I fucking want. Like literally was just like so annoying and so horrible. And at this point I was seeing my now fiance, but because we have like a healthy relationship, I wasn't staying there every single night. So I still was very much having to live in this situation. Acid, randos on the couch. No, it was literally horrendous. And like the apartment would always be a fucking mess. But then like one time I left a form on the counter and she was like, you're leaving papers everywhere. Like it was like, God, like so bad. And so it's her last month and she was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able. And at this point, me and my original roommate that I'd been with from day one that I'm still friends with had decided like, me and you are good roommates. Let's stay being roommates. Let's look for a 2-bedroom apartment. So as our lease was about to come to an end, me and her were looking for 2-bedroom apartments, but we were not finding anything cheaper than our 3-bedroom. The only decent 2-bedrooms we could find were only $80 cheaper a month. So I was like, to pay a deposit, to pay movers, like that's literally just not worth it. So we had kind of come to the decision. Mr. Redacted has helped with the housing glow up. And that's the thing is like me and him split bills. It's not even like I'm a kept woman, but you literally just need 2 incomes in this fucking economy. We also moved to a very cheap ass area. Well, not cheap, but cheaper than Miami. Everywhere's cheaper than Miami. So anyway, me and my OG roommate had decided like me and you are going to keep being roommates and we'll just let her finish this. And then we're not going to get a new roommate. Like we'll just re-sign the lease, just you and I. And so then we're just kind of waiting for her time to be done and for her to move out. And we made it clear, like, this is when you're supposed to move out, whatever. And then she texts us and she's like, for the last month, my friend is going to take over my lease and then you guys can sign with her. That seems so awkward. Like the two of you working full-time adult jobs and coming home to a random person on your couch like your roommate acting like you do in college. Yeah. And at this point, I was in corporate and my other roommate is, and still is, an academic coach at an elementary school. She's literally like an administrator at an elementary school. So this bitch literally tries to make us move in with her friend. And so I text her back, and at this point I'm working in a real estate office, so like I'm not playing about my lease and my housing, and I have many lawyers on my side. So she texts us how her friend is going to move in and pay the rent, and we basically say, no, you are a sublet, you have no legal authority to transfer your lease, and we are not taking on a third roommate in the renewal. It will just be the two of us, is what I texted her. And then she sends us this message, and she goes, you can't do that. If someone wants to rent a room, they can rent a room. You're not the owner. If they want to do that, they can. And she goes, my friend is a real estate agent or is a real estate lawyer, and he looked it over and he said that I can sublet my apartment. And I was like, that's literally just not true. I read the agreement, and then just to make sure I wasn't tripping, I took it to an actual real estate lawyer that I worked with, and they confirmed everything I said. And then I went and talked to the leasing office, and they were like, no, because the way our lease was, it was one lease that we shared. It was not a bedroom lease. Like a lot of colleges or college apartments do that where you're leasing a bedroom. It was one lease. I paid the rent with a paper check from my bank account every month, and the other people Venmo'd me, and we were all on the lease. So she, for days, is trying to tell us that this girl's moving in. She's like, you cannot just block someone from this. If she pays on time, there's nothing you can do. I'm transferring my lease to her. And literally me and my friend and roommate are like, how do we explain to this delusional bitch that that's just not happening? And so at this time, I don't think I talked about it online, it was stressing me out so badly because I just felt like the day that Laura's sublet ended, shit was just gonna hit the fan. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen, but it's not gonna be good. I just felt like there was like her friend was gonna try and move in. They were gonna do something. Like literally she was so adamant that her friend was taking over this lease. And I went with her to the leasing office. I was like, get in the fucking elevator with me and let's go ask him right now. And he was like, no, if they do not want to sign with your friend, they don't have to. And she was like, well, what if my friend wants to take over and my friend wants to lease this apartment? And he was like, we go with our current tenants. They were offered a renewal. Like, you are done. I think it was like July 31st or something. He was like, you're done on that date and you need to move out. And like, it was insane. And then the last day, she wasn't there, so I texted her and I stayed at my apartment that day because I used to be able to work from home one day a week, so I arranged it to be that day so I could be home all day because I was really worried that they were gonna do something to the apartment. And again, she is a authorized occupant, so if they destroy the carpet, break something, that shit is on us. So I was like, let me stay here all day. I worked from home that day. And I didn't see her, and so I texted her around noon and was like, hey, today is the last day of your lease. We need you to give us the keys over today. I'll be home all day. Let me know when you want to do that. But after today, your lease is done. I can't imagine working from home in this environment. No, literally, I'm the strongest soldier. She texted me and is like, I already moved out. The keys are in a box of tea in the pantry. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go look in her room. Everything's gone. The room is empty. There was some makeup stains on the carpet, but they were not horrible. And I didn't know if that was from other roommate before. So I didn't even bring it up. And then I looked and indeed the keys were in a box of tea. And then I renewed with my friend. We split the rent, which was so fucking expensive and horrible, for about a year. And then that's when me and Mr. Redacted moved, because at that point I was staying at his house a lot, or he was staying at my house a fair amount. So we decided to move in together. Then when we started looking for a place together, everything was super fucking expensive. And he was like, why do we live here? And I was like, good question. She had to be high all the time, right? I think so. I think she was on something. I don't think she was high on weed, just because that didn't really track with her behavior. She was just very spacey. Please tell me you changed the locks. We actually didn't, but never had a problem. We thought about it, but she left all the keys. And she said she was going back to Chicago because she had no money. So that's why I didn't really feel the need to change the locks. And to change the locks, we had to pay a fee with our leasing office because, like, they do the locks. Yeah, I feel like maybe Xanax because she was always just, like, confused. Like, very much confused. So, moving on to our last one. This one, I like how I said that one was a short one. It was like 20 minutes. I really like this, though. I love talking to you guys. So, when I was an undergrad, I was a research assistant for a professor that I really liked. And I never had her, but she was a guest speaker for a class that I was in. And when I was an undergrad, I thought I wanted to get a PhD in sociology. This also kind of goes back to my FSU Panama lore. So I already talked about, like, I got rejected from USC. My senior year, when I was dealing with that rejection, that semester, like I said, I was doing dual enrollment. I took intro to sociology just because it sounded interesting and I wanted just to take some stuff because it was free. So I took intro to sociology, absolutely fell in love with sociology. And then when I went to FSU, they had like an admitted students day. I came to this stream so late, so I missed all the roommate drama. So glad you didn't skip it. So anyway, did she know your other roommate knew Spanish? No, she did not. She did not. Because my other roommate, she said she can't really speak Spanish that well, but she understands everything because she worked at like a multilingual bank. So she was like, I'm not very expressive, but I like understand everything. And she took like 4 years of Spanish in college. So she said she never really speaks it, but she, like, if you're talking, she knows exactly what's going on. But anyway, so I had taken sociology through dual enrollment. When I got rejected from USC and then went to FSU Admitted Students Day, I attended FSU. Do they have a journalism major? Anyway, I was like, I don't really know what I want to major in. So I went to a bunch of sessions and there was a program at FSU, it still exists, that is interdisciplinary social sciences. Maybe you should have learned Spanish in Panama so you could have clapped back. I should have learned it and I didn't. And I'll own that. But anyway, I went to an info session about this new major that they created called Interdisciplinary Social Science, where you basically take all of the social sciences and you pick a concentration. And I was like, that sounds so interesting. I love that because I loved history. I had just taken economics. Like, I felt like that was going to be awesome. And I really liked the professors. I went to like a panel. So when I say I hated FSU, I hated Tallahassee. Academically, incredible. And also, if anyone here is looking for a college, pay attention to how they treat you. Do they answer emails quickly? When you call them, do you get put on hold a lot? FSU is run very efficiently. When I had a problem in the financial aid office, they dealt with it very quick. And I will say that about FSU. My advisor was always on top of everything, would have regular meetings. Like, I really liked the way the school ran, and I felt like I got a very quality education, especially for how cheap it was comparatively. But I did not like the school culture living in Tallahassee. So anyway, I tell people I majored in sociology. My actual major is interdisciplinary social sciences, concentrated in sociology. That is what is actually on my transcript, if you must know. Did you take anthropology? So when I did dual enrollment in high school, in the fall I took anthropology. I thought I was going to love it, hated it. I also think it's because I didn't like my professor. And then in the spring I took sociology and I was like, oh, this is what I thought anthropology was. So I do like anthropology, but it's not a favorite of mine. So I'm in school, I'm taking mostly sociology classes because my degree is concentrated in sociology. So I had thought that after undergrad, I wanted to do a PhD program and get my PhD in sociology because I just love sociology so much. And someone told me if you want to do a PhD program, you should be a research assistant. So I had been trying to think, like, which professors do I want to be a research assistant for? And I was like, I don't want to be someone's assistant while I'm in their class. That's kind of weird. So this one professor came as a guest speaker. I was taking sociology of marriage and family. I was taking sociology of marriage and family. And then this woman came to be a guest speaker about sexuality because she taught sociology of sex and relationships. So she just came as a guest lecturer, but I really liked her, and she was telling us she was getting her PhD, and she was telling us about her research. Her research was about infidelity and correlating factors to infidelity and things like that. And I just felt like she was really interesting. And I was like, this is great. This is a professor in this department that's not my professor. So I approach her and I'm like, hey, I want to be a research assistant. So she interviews me, gives me a couple tasks. I'm her research assistant. She was cool. She was a little kooky and weird sometimes, but I learned a lot from her, and she showed me I did not want to get a PhD, which was the point of me doing a research assistantship. And I might one day, but she was the one that kind of sat me down and was like, you should work beforehand to figure out what you want to do. Like, she was cool. And again, we had much more of a friend relationship because she was never my professor, so I would be in her office helping her write her dissertation. Or is it a dissertation? Whatever. One of the things that she did is basically, she is like super ADHD, and she was like, I have read all this research and it's locked in here, but I don't remember where I read it. So she would give me facts and then a list of what she had read, and I had to figure out what came from where and then make citations for it. So it was a very good job in the sense that it taught me a lot about research and academia and what that's kind of like, and which was a good thing. I needed to learn that. And she actually wrote my recommendation to become a teacher, and I think she is why I was able to get a teaching job with no experience at 21 with no certification, because her recommendation was glowing and so detailed. And I had multiple people that I sent it to were like, that's a really good recommendation. So yeah, she was cool. And I graduate, and then she is basically, I graduate, but I was still living in Tallahassee because I still had my lease. And she was like, if I start paying you, can you still be my research assistant? She was like, I get you don't want to do it for free. You're not in college anymore. So at that point, me and her were just friends. Like, we would go out to eat on occasion. Like, I was just her assistant. By that point, I graduated college. I was like 21 years old. Like, we were coolin'. So, sidebar. I had taken a different class called Sociology of Race and Racism. Another great class, another great professor. Learned so much in that class, was a phenomenal professor. Loved that professor. It was a male professor. Me and him somehow became friends on Facebook. I don't remember why. But this is after I've graduated. I want to make it very clear. I have graduated at this point. At this point, I was living in Tallahassee. I was full-time teaching early Head Start. Working 5 days a week, living in Tallahassee. Still figuring out where am I going to move, what job am I going to have, trying to get my life together. So this professor hits me up. I don't remember how this happened, but we agreed to go get coffee. And I'm thinking it's like professional vibes, like mentorship vibes. And before I go to get coffee with him, because I like wanted letters of recommendation. I was trying to network and figure out what I wanted to do. So before I go get coffee with him, I'm out with my boss and I'm like, oh, Professor so-and-so invited me to coffee, and her jaw drops to the fucking floor. Let me tell you what she told me. So apparently, I'll tell you about him and his wife first, because this part's funny to me. He's married. He has 2 small children. His wife refuses to be home alone with their children. If she is home alone with their children, there has to be a babysitter there. She's never been home alone with both of them. She says that it's overwhelming, and she says that it is sexist to expect her to be home alone with both of them. So they were spending all of their money on childcare. Almost all of it. Because he was a professor, so sometimes he would have to profess night classes. And this had apparently been going when he was in his PhD program. And I think that's such a girl boss move, to refuse to watch your own children. That's absolutely hilarious. So, not only that, my professor, who's now my boss, tells me, she's like, me and him were getting our PhDs together. Like, he had graduated before her, but she was like, we were in because hers was like delayed because she had fucked some stuff up apparently. But they were in their like beginning classes together and studying together. And she said one time, they had like 4 people at her house studying. She said at that time she was living in like a townhouse, and they had Mitchell Sid, thanks for subscribing. They had like 4 people studying, and it was like 2, 3 in the morning. But again, PhD, a lot of them also have jobs. Not that strange. There's 4 people. She said she didn't even find a rich man though. No, like a Florida State sociology professor, girl, broke. So, My professor tells me that they're all studying. It's like 3 a.m. She starts to not feel good. So she goes, you guys keep studying. I'm going to go upstairs and take a shower. She goes, I think that'll just wake me up and make me feel better. I'm going to go take a shower. She said that when she got out of the shower, he was laying on her bed, butt ass naked, and said, I want to leave my wife with you. Let's run away and never come back here. A father of 2 who's married in a PhD program. And she said, she was like, you're going to put your clothes back on. You're going to go downstairs. You're going to say you have to leave. And you're going to go home. And we're never going to talk about this again. And I was like, mind you, I'm supposed to get coffee with this man like 2 days from now because I'm trying to fucking secure a letter of recommendation. So I'm panicking. And like, it is assault. It's not funny. But the woman that told me did tell me in a very jovial manner. And again, this woman was a little kooky and known to bend the truth a tad, but I just thought that was so funny. She said they had never had any prior romantic interactions. She said that she felt like they were very close friends and they would hang out because they were in the same PhD program. So she said she always felt it was friendly because he was married. So she never felt like weird about it. And she said that like, she was like, go get coffee with him. And she said, I don't think he'll do anything with you or do anything weird. But she was like, don't go to his house and don't be alone with him. And at this point, him and his wife were separating because she was like, him and his wife are breaking up because she won't be home alone with the kids and they have no money. So they fight all the time. Because apparently he was like, me and my wife hate each other. I want to be with you. And this incident between her and him was like 3 years prior to what I was hearing about it. But who would watch the kids if they break up? Exactly. He would watch the kids Home Alone. I will give him that one. So I'm like, fuck, now I got to go on this date with my old creeper professor who's just separated from his wife. Like, fucking kill me. So I go. It was fine. I literally was like so fucking anxious and probably acted so weird, but why were we there? And he did talk to me about PhD programs. Like, it was what I wanted it to be. But I still was just like, And then he like kind of tried to steer it a little bit and was asking about like my friends and my family and if I thought I was going to stay in Tallahassee. And I was just kind of like, this was great. We were there for about an hour and I was, yeah. That's a woman who never wanted to be a mother. So real of her. But yeah, I just thought that was fucking crazy. Like, and he was a really good professor. I did learn a lot from him. And I remember the first day of class, he was like, have you ever seen the show My Name is Earl? If you've ever seen My Name is Earl, he kind of had that kind of a vibe to him. He didn't have as much of like a beard, but he was just kind of like a rough looking white guy. And on the first day of our class, Sociology of Race, he walks in cowboy boots, slams his bag down and goes, I shouldn't be teaching this fucking class. As a white man, I am not qualified to teach this class. And I told them that, and I appealed to the department about me teaching this class. And I told them to give me another class, and they wouldn't. And they said I had to teach this. And I'm going to do my very best to teach it, and I care about this very deeply, but just know I should not be doing this. Like, he was a good professor, but the lore. But yeah, that's our last story for the night. Next week, we'll be talking about Miss Phaedra. And I did make a little game for you. Well, I didn't make it, but I came up with the questions and my lovely assistant put it into Nearpod. So yeah, next week we'll be learning about Phaedra. It'll be a grand old time. And here is our frickin' game for tonight. I'll put the link in the chat. It's just for funsies. I'm not trying to harbor your information. As a professor, the thought of dating a previous student gives me such a serious ick. One of my professors was getting a divorce when we met him. After the semester ended, he started offering to get drinks with me and my grad school friends. Not creepy, but odd. Yeah, especially with grad school, it really gets into a blurred line because you're all working professionals, so it's hard. This was so needed. I hope you enjoyed it. This was very cathartic, and if anyone's mad at me, sorry. I feel like I said some bad things I did. Not many. Because I rarely make mistakes, but I said some. I barely drank this because I was talking the whole time. Let me just drink the whole thing right now. Perfect. All right. Oh, wait. Let me make it so you can pick your little characters. We'll do the jungle one because this was kind of scary. Which was your favorite story? Tell me right now once you pick your little character. There we go. Which was your favorite story? I don't know. They're all so good. For me, the bosses cheating with each other is really just top tier. Like that one, it'll never be better than that. Like that fueled me for years. Years. And honestly, being able to tell that story was worth not getting that job. Being able to tell that story was worth not getting that opportunity. I loved the bosses cheating. It's so good, right? Coco Panama RA was my fave, I think. I feel bad that I catfished you with the cheater car. I just like literally, so I made a bullet list with the headers and the fake names and told my assistant, like, just put it in a PowerPoint and pick a photo that makes sense. I like the bosses cheating or the Panama lore. Yeah, I tried to keep it a mix of like serious and fun and stupid and me and not me. Roommate story for me because I had a roommate who was horrible in a lot of the same ways in college. Oh my God, there's a lot of you here tonight. That's pretty lit. I'm excited to finish doing my office. I just got some posters and I'm gonna get, this is like kind of cringy, but I think it'll actually make for really incredible videos that you guys deserve. You can get student desk for like $10 fucking on Facebook Marketplace. People are getting rid of them all the time. So I'm going to get a couple like school desk so that I can make videos because you guys always love when I like impersonate my students or read what my students wrote. And there's so many funny little skits I can act out from my classroom. You've only talked about Panama like a dad who randomly drops info from his life before kids. I know, but like, was it satisfying to y'all? Because I feel like it really wasn't that like groundbreaking. Like it was really cool and unique, but it was like not like anything crazy happened that made me end up there. Bosses was crazy, but roommate because I currently have a crazy unemployment drug roommate. Are you working this summer or are you free? I mean, I'm like working like this and then I don't know, maybe I'll do some stuff. But no, I'm not teaching this summer, no. All right, I'm going to start the game. Oh my God, I can't believe it's almost 2 hours. It's been a while since we've had a 2-hour stream. This was a great yap session. It's kind of gross. I might not finish that. Felt like we were on FaceTime. It really did. I look forward to your summer break because streams are insane. Yeah, I'm really excited. I have some cool stuff I want to do. I've been watching the shows about like my big fat American gypsy wedding, Gypsy Sisters. I've been in that universe right now, so I really want to do a stream, not about the shows, but about like travelers in the US and their culture and their history and stuff. I want to try Dutch Bros. Whenever a Dutch Bros parking lot is here, I'm always like, I want to try. Please. Also, I have announcements coming in a couple weeks about what I'm doing next year. For the person that said I look forward to summer break because your streams are insane. I miss how much time I used to dedicate to this. And I do have a little bit of a career change next year. I'm still teaching and I'm still at my current school, but I'm just switching it up a little bit. So more information on that coming soon. And I'm hoping that it'll be like a little less stressful. So yeah. I've seen some interesting TikToks about the Mount St. Helens eruption. Oh, you yanked that from really far back in my brain. He said he was single. He did. I didn't want closure. You dumping me over text was plenty of closure. You say I picked the right answers, but I didn't pick the wrong answers. She did good. This is a good stream. I'm excited for the Ask Miss Redacted one. I think that one's gonna be good too. If you weren't here at the beginning, there's a link in my link tree. I'll put it in the chat at the end. For 2 weeks from now, there's gonna be a Ask Miss Redacted. I shifted my course schedule to catch streams. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I have the link. can't see you guys. There you are. How many total children does Miles have? Because remember, he had 2 with the first wife, and then Emma got pregnant. I wonder if they ever got married. Imagine if it was me. I have been watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I'm on episode 5. I really wanted to watch all 10 episodes over the weekend, but me and Mr. Redacted are watching it, and he was like, I don't think I can handle 10 hours of that in one weekend. But he did handle 5, so pretty good. I treat this like I'm on Jeopardy. You are. This is like knockoff Jeopardy. Walmart Jeopardy. Actually, I guess D is kind of right after the waitress job and the man fired her. Get 4 dogs. Get 4 dogs would have been hilarious. Kate Gosselin's haircut. Does she still have her extensions? I heard she lives like a normal life now. The jungle one has the best music. That's why I pick it a lot, because the jungle music is just like very like good and relaxing, I feel. A different professor. I should always have to wear nice clothes tomorrow. There's an event. I should pick that out tonight so I'm not stressed in the morning. Chaos Muppet, Breely, Kate Gosselin's haircut, Fayette Lake, and Rebec's top 5. Nice. And then we have Soph, Tori, Smelly It, Kamika in a gossip parking lot, Saturn Cat, OZ Bubbly, Cheater Carvelson, 13th Ring, Quick Trip, Jill, and I will scroll through the rest. Nice job. So, any questions, anything you want to share? Let me put the link in the chat for the Ask Miss Redacted, which is in 2 weeks from now. Next week we'll be talking about Phaedra, and the week after that will be Ask Miss Redacted. If Miss Redacted talked about you tonight, us when you went to the deep dive about the Nightmare roommate, finally some delicious fucking food. When Laura says she cleared her sublet BS with an attorney, so she's obviously correct. I was like, I think when she says a real estate attorney, I think a real estate agent wanted to fuck her, is what that was. And was just like, yeah, you're right. You're so right. Your roommate sounds like a bitch. Yeah, she should let your friend move in. Yeah, she can legally let your friend move in. Yeah, for sure. These memes are good. Kate Gosselin's haircut. You are not playing this week. Quick with it. Thank you so much for being here. When Miles cheated on his wife. Let me give people more time for the memes. Here, let me like you all. I bet the real estate attorney was inebriated. The real estate attorney was actually the sugar daddy's wife. She was the real estate attorney. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you feel more connected to me. I really don't have secrets. I just never have the time to tell these in-depth stories, but this was fun. I might do this again because there's definitely other crazy things that have happened to me and other gossip I have been privy to. But we are here every week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And yeah. Miss Redacted's RA. Coco fucking kills me. So, thank you. I like being a good storyteller. It's one of my favorite things about myself. Would love more lore if you ever decide to drop it. I think I just might. And we are, when I say we, I'm going to record a video with all the lore about us buying this house because it really was dramatic. He's not going to be in the video, but I did agree to have him answer some questions because of some of the financial stuff I don't know off the top of my head, and he'll explain it better. But I am going to put that on YouTube soon, so be on the lookout for that because I know a lot of y'all wanted to know as first-time home buyers as well. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week. Love you so much. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about Phaedra. And if you want a little preview about Phaedra, she married a guy that went to prison twice, and she works in the funeral business and was on a Bravo show.